Hey, Shalom, Shalom. It's the brother Abba Yabba from the DC Church, coming at you, giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kakodash, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Bahashim being in the name, Rakal meaning Spirit, Kodash meaning Holy. These are the names of the powers that I come to you in order to profess the 100% truth, and Lord's will seal the elect's faith. Shani Kabaga, Wella Rakaz, Aquarium Naba Ith, meaning double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS in these times, whom the Heavenly Father had enlisted the 100% truth to. And Shalom, Wabarakum, Labakar, and Shiasha Allah, peace and blessings be upon the elect of the nation of Israel. And to the men out there that's pushing this word and sincerity and the truth, to you I say Shalom, Wabarakum, Atham, peace and blessings be upon you. Now, without further ado, you can see this video is called Only Bad Times, Evil is Coming. Emergency energy conservation measures being implemented for NWO, which this is a fucking amazing video done by the brother Samak and the brother man, I forgot the brother. It's a Z, call him Z, from Miami camp. I forgot the brother's name, and I Salakia. Nevertheless, and they did link some of these here. So, it's crazy. I think I might have sent this link to Akim too, but the reason why I'm making this video is kind of an extension of what is being said on in this video, in which these brothers did an amazing job breaking down, essentially what's going on and how it correlates to things that could potentially pop off that would roll out the MOTB, which, here's the thing. Esau can only replicate what he's done already. It kind of got the old saying where it say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it's kind of the same thing with Esau. So the thing is, he'll use a different epidemic and basically reinvent the same sauce that he's already created. So opposed to ranch, he'll make Chipotle ranch, or he'll make bacon avocado ranch, but it's still ranch at the end of the day. It's still the same foundation. Now, I'm saying that, using that as a metaphor to say that he uses the same methods of convenience, of dependency to essentially force the everyday citizen into his agenda, or subject the everyday citizen into his agenda, which essentially is having everybody conformative to this one idea or this one ideal or ideological concept, which is wrapped around the MOTB. All right. Now, I'm gonna read some of this real quick, and then I'm gonna go into what I have in ChatGPT. Actually, let me grab that real quick first. So I asked a question. I said, "Is there energy shortage going on currently worldwide? If so, what resources are being affected, and what countries are taking measures to reserve energy, and how?" Simplify the answer, right? Short answer: there's no signal of global energy shortages right now. Now, of course, if there was a global, it's not a global pandemic. It's in the process of being brewed to that point. But the fact of the matter is that it is becoming a quote unquote concern. But a lot of these concerns are fabricated. All right. A lot of these concerns are like essentially a global false flag. Just like C-19 was. It was a test run. And now this is something that's a little bit more effective and it's a little bit more permanent, because when you run out of natural resources, there's no telling how long it's going to take for you to reacquire natural resources. Now, so they say. All right. And yes, a lot of these places are drying up of oil and petroleum and so on and so forth, because the consumption of these things is at an all-time high. And especially these natural resources are also used to militarize countries. So, it's kind of like it's going to be utilized a lot. But the fact of the matter is that the Lord created the earth for it to yield forth life, for it to be able to yield forth these natural resources. Now, even in the mass consumption of these resources, the earth is still going to produce. All right. Now, you got to think about it there, just like how, clean water is a concern. But, how the fuck is clean water a concern when, the earth is primarily water? So anyway, It says short answer, there's no signal of energy shortages right now, but there are ongoing supply pressures and regional shortages affecting certain fuels in countries, right? Now it says what's going on. Energy supply is tight in some places, mainly due to conflicts like Russia in the Ukraine war. All right. It says growing global energy demand and weather extremes, heat waves, droughts affecting power, right? It says which energy resources are affected. Natural gas, it says biggest disruption, especially in Europe. It says oil prices fluctuate, supply can tighten. Electricity shortage in some countries during peak demand. Coal still used more in emergencies, right? So these are all resources that are being affected and that are also going to be, there are going to be measures put into place for there to be preservation or conservation of these resources. So, i.e., another lockdown. Okay, and that's essentially what the elder brothers were going into in this video right here, is how there are going to be some implementations of, these draconian measures, which is going to result in another C-19 like event. Okay, so you're not going to be able to go out on certain days. You're not going to be able to buy certain foods on certain days. Everything is going to be scheduled, and it's going to be monetized. And that's why the development of AI, tying all of that into technology, the development of AI is a necessity for the elites, because how is all of humans' interactions and humans' activity going to be tracked? It needs to be computerized. All right. So, and that's the ultimate level of conservation, quote unquote, right? So it says who is affected and what are they doing, right? It says Europe reduced reliance on Russian gas, built new gas terminals, switched to renewables. It says encourage people to use less energy, heating limits, efficiency rules. Now, when you go deeper into this, these countries are actually taking legitimate and serious measures and safety precautions to actually preserve these things. Now, I forgot which country was said to, which country was said to not go out on Wednesdays or something like that. That was something that the brother said inside this video, which let me go back real quick, see if the point was made.
About your safety? They want you purged. That's why they got this fucking mayor, Mondani. He's the scapegoat, because New York is cooked. Yeah, they're done with New York, okay? They're done, the New York, all right, has passed its golden days. Yep. The golden city now is Miami, okay?
So I think it's a little bit before that.
4160, Poyeo,
which means to make, okay? To make ready, to prepare. And you clearly see this QR code from Sri Lanka. That's it. The next thing is, okay, swipe your hand. Yeah. The QR.
Right. It was a little bit before this.
15 liters to gasoline. 3.9 gallons a week.
That's crazy.
That's nothing.
That's probably like what, $10 maybe.
That's $10 worth of gas per week. Where the fuck are you going? They saying stay at home, and this is the will of the Lord, because you know why? It's punishment to you heathens. Yep. Okay. See, the Lord is punishing you heathens. You can't even see that He's punishing you, because guess what? You're not an Israelite, all right, first and foremost, and you're not part of the elect, because the elect can see that this is punishment, okay? So again, they got the QR code. This is basically the mark of the beast system that He causeth all. So let's bring that out, the causeth all. Yep.
Right, so to kind of keep it short, I can't find a point, but to kind of keep it short, some countries, especially starting over in East Asia and kind of that area, it's essentially where, just like how the brothers had made the point, where this whole C-19 thing originated from too. And again, if things start in the East, they're gonna land in the West. That's just typically how it happens. All right, trends that start in the East, they tend to land in the West. So, especially when it pertains to the development of these global these ideas of, how do I put it? when the elites are trying to do things to affect the world, essentially, it always starts in the East and then it ends on the West. Just like how like C19 was. C19 is basically a catalyst or it's somewhat of a formula on how to create a global epidemic / pandemic, and how the people would essentially act. So those same individuals who didn't go and grab or what didn't get shot up by them booster shots and so on and so forth are still on the list. All right. And the elites also know, and this is talking on a mass scale, the elites also know that those are the same individuals that are going to cause problems when it pertains to this energy conservation act that they're going to enact I'm sure very soon, because it's only but so long before Americans start losing their mind behind paying almost $6-7 for a gallon of gas. Esau is essentially forcing people to stay home. In other words, because a lot of these people don't make enough to actually even have transportation in itself. But furthermore, to pay your bills and then do leisure, it's like you're kind of getting tossed in between. Some people don't make enough. A lot of people don't make enough. A lot of Americans are broke. All right. So this is kind of like another semi-shutdown. So let me read a little bit more on this. It says China faced electricity shortages in the past year, rationed powers for factories, investing heavily in solar and wind and coal backup, right? India, occasional coal shortages, increasing coal production, expanding renewable energy. United States, no major shortage overall. Some local grids stressed during extreme weather, investing in clean energy. And you see how, yo, ChatGPT is biased, bro. I don't care what anybody says. If you don't ask objective questions, like you have to like legitimately dig to get a very objective answer from ChatGPT, because they're gonna try to make America look like it's the fucking best thing on the earth. But it's cool. It's cool. Go ahead. have your way. But we know the truth as prophets of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Why does this all matter though? Why is this important? This is important because these are the coming steps and coming days before the actual fall of Babylon. All right. Now, this may look like a big stretch, but again, right before 2020 happened, right? The prophets warned that something could potentially happen, and then it did. So this isn't short of what we predicted from before too. Okay, simple takeaways. It says no worldwide blackout or total shortages, which we know, again, like I said, of course, we know that there's nothing going on globally at this point in time, because then we would be on lockdown just like how it was during C19. But the fact of the matter is that it's brewing up. OK, some regions have tight supply or temporary shortages. Countries are diversifying energy sources and saving energy. All right. Now, let me go into this real quick. It says 2026 Energy Crisis Policy Response Tracker. Right. It says responding to the largest supply disruptions in history. Of course, we're in 2026, so we're seeing things that we've never seen before. We're seeing disruptions. We're seeing eruptions. We're seeing methods that were never taken before, because things have never happened in the fashion that they're happening now, because the Lord is about to make his return. Okay. Now, before we get into that, I actually want to grab this real quick. I'm thinking again, I was thinking Salakia. Well, let me grab this real quick. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. And I think it's verse, give me 1 second. Vexation that major cannot be numbered. Okay. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 8. It says, all things are full of labor, men cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that hath been it is that which shall be, right? So the same methods and precautions that were taken before to implement the agenda that happened during C-19 is the same. It's literally the same exact formula, but just a different sauce. Like I said, now the sediment behind this next epidemic is just going to be energy conservation. All right. Now it says, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. And again, we see the same concept happen time and time again, to where our people are at a point of dependency on the government or on the higher powers, for lack of better terms, and they essentially utilize that to make us conform to their ideas. All right. Now, what's the same shit happened during the time of Nebuchadnezzar? Same shit happened during the time of the Maccabees. All right. And these kings, they tried to make us conform to their idea and make us worship their God so that they can have full power over the whole entire earth. And also just to fulfill their own, evil lusts. But the thing is, if you have the children of Israel in captivity, you really have the power of the world, because we are the owners of this world. But the thing is, you got to pay a big price for that. Nevertheless, go to this is Hosea chapter 4 verse 1. Hear the word of the Lord, you children of Israel. It says, the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of the Most High. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood. Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beast of the field, with the fowls of the heaven, and with the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Now we're actually seeing this. We're seeing a degradation of practically every resource in this world, not just the herb yielding fields, but also the sea, and again, these natural resources that need to be produced in order for the average American life, or the average East African or Asian life to proceed normalcy. Okay. But your normalcy bias is going to be disrupted, okay? And there's going to be things that happen that are going to pull you away from this idea of everything's going to be okay, all right? And now we're in the coming stages of that. So I'm going to read a little bit on this, and then I'm going to end this, all right? Give me 1 second. 1 second. It says, responding to the largest supply disruption in history, the conflicts in the Middle East have triggered an unprecedented disruption to global fuel markets, tightening supply and placing significant pressure on consumers and economies worldwide. Now, again, $100 saying $100 a barrel for these resources like petroleum, gas, so on and so forth, oil. Now, this doesn't only affect you being able to mobilize yourself from point A to point B, but you got to also understand that transportation is a lot of these goods that we have in America are transported. All right, clothing, art, resources, your products, your toiletries, so on and so forth. All of these are affected by the natural resources, because the natural resources are essentially the foundation of how you even get them in a store to begin with. Okay. Now it says, in response, the IEA has launched its largest ever release of emergency oil stock, and also published a menu of demand side measures that government businesses and households can take to shelter consumers from oil price pressures and support energy securities, right? It says the IEA is tracking policy measures adopted by countries in response to the unfolding energy crisis through this dedicated tracker. The two tables below provide up-to-date overviews of actions being implemented to conserve energy and support consumers around the world. All right. So you can see how these countries are basically going into work from Indonesia, work home on Fridays for civil servants. I'm not sure where LOA PDR is, but it says remote and rotating shifts from civil work. Malaysia, remote work for civil servants, right? So you can see how Egypt, 1 day remote work for public sectors. So you can see how a lot of these countries are kicking in these methods of conserving energy. Now, again, it starts on the east and lands in the west. It always happens that way. And we just got to keep an eye for this, because this may be, and we're praying earnestly, this may be the epidemic that gets us where we need to go, which is the kingdom of heaven. So with that, I pray that you are edified and uplifted through this prophecy watch. Give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shema Shai, Bashim Kokadashi, Kabak, Walla Rakaz, the claim, Naba Aith, Shalom, Barakam, Nabakan, Shashala. Until next time, I can say Shalom.